individuals who held our hands and helped us along the way. And helping others now is also a way for us to pay it forward. We all can identify at least one person who made a significant and positive impact on our lives. Most likely, it is more than just one such individual in each of our lives. They would have changed our course and molded our thoughts. They are our mentors, and they can be our friends, relatives, co-workers, teachers, or other known people in our lives. Our mentors are the more experienced, knowledgeable people in our lives who helped us stay on the right track by constantly guiding and nudging us along the way. Mentoring is not a new idea. The origin of the term mentor dates back to ancient times. In Hindu mythology, there are references to successful kings and scholars looking at certain individuals as their mentors, separate from their teachers or gurus. In the ancient epic Mahabharata, the great warrior and leader Arjuna considered Lord Krishna as his mentor and the sage Drona as his teacher. Drona taught Arjuna skills in archery and discipline, while Krishna helped Arjuna understand the real world and make wise decisions at key points in his life. In Greek history too, Alexander the Great considered Aristotle as his mentor. The mentor-mentee relationship is relevant even today. The successful entrepreneurs of the current times, Mark Zuckerberg and Steve Jobs, attribute their success to receiving the right wisdom at the right time from people they trusted. Corporate world for decades adopted mentoring as a means to grow high potential employees into future leaders. In the Toastmasters world too, this concept of mentoring exists. And mentoring in Toastmasters helps us in our own journey of life too. Whether we are a novice Toastmaster or been here for quite some time, to get our understanding clear about what it is to be a mentor or a protege in Toastmasters, and about the various facets of mentoring like individual or club mentoring, contest mentoring, or leadership mentoring. Let us meet the mentors of District 120 who have done all this. For people who are not aware, there exists a mentor pool committee in our district which works to percolate the concept of mentoring in the district. The committee is headed by DTM Nina John, a public speaking coach by profession. She is a torchbearer of our District 120. Now, before I introduce her, we have some polls to understand how our Toastmasters have understood mentoring in the district. Sri Krishnan, are you launching the poll?
Yes, it is launched.
I don't see anything.
Yes, now it is. Sorry, my bad.
So this is not the poll.
I mean,
This is the question.
this is the the statistics that is coming.
Maybe since we are co-host.
Okay, I think for the host and the co-host, it is a statistics.
Yes. We started getting responses. close this in the next 10 seconds.
I didn't see the poll at all. I am seeing only this one. The statistics results.
Since I made you as a co-host, you are seeing that, sir.
Okay.
So I just shared the results to all. Maybe I'll leave Malini to just have hover over this results for a while.
Okay, can we go ahead, Sri Krishna?
Yes.
Yeah. Now let me hand over the control to Neena ma'am.
Thank you so much, Malini. That was a fantastic introduction, and I hope to see more people in the room soon. Many of us are talking in terms of, one second, I think Sri Krishna has to spotlight me.
Yes. Done.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Mentor Pool program organized by TLI. A lot of people have heard about Mentor Pool. Mentor Pool, nobody's very sure what the whole thing is about. So we're going to give you an introduction to what is the Mentor Pool. We're going to have an open house discussion. We're going to have 2 role plays, and we are going to have a lot of fun while we discuss today what mentoring is all about. To many people, mentor is the first person that they're introduced to when they get into the club. Their maybe education or whatever does this, and they are now in the position of having a mentor. The point is, how do I interact with my mentor? What do I do as far as mentoring is concerned? All of these things. So we're talking in terms of how do I get on to my Toastmasters journey? What does the mentor do? Do I approach the mentor? Does the mentor approach me? Do I need a mentor? Do I need a mentor in the beginning? Or have I come long enough on my journey to say that, no, I don't need a mentor. My mentor, whatever experience I had was more of a tormentor than a mentor. So therefore, I don't want a mentor. I can do very well on my own. And that's the way it goes. So we're here to discuss those very vital questions. Do we need mentors? Do we not? In Toastmasters, mentoring is considered very, very seriously. We think a mentor can be a helping hand, a shoulder to lean on, a ear to listen, and someone who helps you on your journey. And those of you who are mentors, being a mentor is not a teaching journey. It is a learning journey. As somebody once said, if you want to learn something properly, teach. And that's what mentoring is all about. So we're going to discuss today, what are the qualities of a mentor? What are the qualifications for being a mentor? And do you have it in you to be a mentor? With the mentor pool, we are trying to organize processes, systems, ensuring that it's not a casual affair where somebody walks into a meeting and says, oh, you spoke so wonderfully, you must be my mentor, without realizing that other person may not even have anything other than a good speaking style. And that's one thing I would like you to remember. We have good communicators, we have excellent communicators. But while good communicators are not necessarily good leaders are always good communicators. Without good communication skills, you cannot lead a family, a community, or a country. So let's start with what are we going to do in terms of mentoring as far as both communication and leadership are concerned. May I request Krishnan to start the PPT, please? What are the aims and objectives of the mentor pool that was set up last year? And thanks to District Director Satish Menon, who said this initiative is something that takes a long time. Let's continue it for the next year also. So the next slide, please. The objectives are to create a database of members who are interested in being mentors and with domain expertise, because all mentors are not necessarily equally qualified. Not all mentors are interested in doing things for all their mentees or proteges. They would rather concentrate, for example, in one area such as humorous contests or contest speaking as a whole. But there are others who say, no, we would like to have a more holistic view of things and invest in you becoming a leader as well. So we're talking about the education and training of mentors. How do we mentor and map proteges across divisions and clubs? How do we encourage mentors to earn the Pathways Mentor Pool badge? And what are the kind of recognition programs for mentors? The next slide, please. So the Mentor Pool Committee consists of the chair, that's myself, committee members, division spots, club coordinators at the MPC level. So that's what it is. On next slide, please. So what happens? A guest joins a club and becomes a member. The Vice President Education assigns a mentor within the club if possible. Now, across clubs that we have in Toastmasters, you have the first category of what we call community or corporate clubs. So community clubs, by and large, have a larger resource pool as far as being able to provide mentors is concerned. Corporates may have a more limited pool because of the constant turnover. And if it is a college club, very definitely they will have problems with resources in finding the right kind of mentors. So this is where both the mentor pool coordinator and at the club level and the VPE can help with protege and mentor mapping. If you do not have mentors at your club level, ask your MPC to contact your area director, check within the area itself or anywhere else whether there are people to help with the mentoring process, and that's where the mentor pool comes in. And this is where the member starts on the Toastmasters journey with input from the mentor. The next one, please. So what are we looking at in terms of the qualifications for mentors? We are saying, please complete at least level 2 of Pathways before you get into mentoring. Otherwise, it's very much a case of the blind leading the blind. And if you are not qualified in terms of both Toastmaster experience and other world experience, you will find it difficult. So advanced level in the legacy program, a lot of people may have done only legacy programs, maybe advanced communicator, bronze, silver, etc., or even CC or DTM. Yes, they would also be qualified. At least 2 years active membership, which means a mentor should have participated in club activities, in area activities, may have contested at different levels in all the different 4 types of contests, may have taken up leadership positions as club, XCOM, area, or division level, maybe even as an extended team member of all of these, because that is where you get the real experience of what Toastmasters is all about. We would also encourage you now that Pathways has a mentorship badge to work towards that, because contesting and doing all this together will give you a better background. The next slide, please. So for this Pathways mentor qualification, every one of us does this at the level 2, where you speak about being a protege. And being a protege is your best qualification for saying, this is how I want. This is my experience of being mentored. What can I do to help admit others? Now, for a contest or leadership mentors, I would say you must have an advanced level in the legacy program and should have both contest and participated in the club, XCOM, or other roles. The next slide, please. Most important requirement of a mentor, the willingness to share. I think this is true of Toastmasters as a whole. Every one of us who is here as an individual tries to help others within the club, does a little bit more for new members, for our friends or whatever. And this is really the hallmark of a Toastmaster, that willingness to share, that attitude of, I want to tell other people about Toastmasters because I've gained so much for it, and that's what's important. Availability at least once a month per protege. Remember, the Pathways program asks you to work for this program, document the meetings that you are having, discuss your goals, discuss where you want to go, and go on from there. It's very, very important for a mentor to understand the long-term vision of why someone has joined Toastmasters. Is it for professional reasons? Is it for personal reasons? What kind of growth are you looking at? And which of the paths is going to really, really help that person in that quest for whatever, personality development, professional placement, promotion, anything. So all these things the mentor should keep in mind and help the protege along those and ensure that they do that. So our next slide, please, will show you what are the responsibilities of a protege. Please don't expect your mentor to spoon feed you, call you once a month, tell you come and do all these things. You have joined Toastmasters to improve your own personality, your own goals for communication. And now that you're in Toastmasters, you will find it is a new goal for you in terms of leadership milestones. So set your Toastmaster goals. Don't start with DTM. If you're really ambitious, of course you can do that, but at least start with, I will finish one pathway within 1 year. Schedule your speech slots with the VP Education and discussing with your mentor. Every speech should be discussed with your mentor. And I would recommend that you keep your pathways goals in mind. Which is your pathway? Is it motivational strategies? Is it innovative planning? Any of these things. What have I joined Toastmasters for? How do I get into all these? And what do I need to do? Understand those and tailor all your speeches according to that, rather than just random speeches for anything else. Take up your roles during the club meetings and ensure that even if you don't take up a role, attend the club meetings constantly and consistently. Just that attendance is enough to help you improve your overall communication skills in terms of precision, in terms of comprehensiveness, in terms of good communication skills. Take up responsibilities. Be willing to do that and carry on with that. Be in constant touch with your mentor. Don't turn up every 6 months and say, oh, I've scheduled a speech on Sunday, so this is my script. Please send it back before the meeting. You will not benefit by that because you have not discussed your speech. You don't know if you can better the speech. You don't know if your mentor has better ideas. And the mentor can only understand what you are doing if you have a clear discussion. So please ensure that you do that. Review your mentor assignment with the VPE every 6 months. Very, very essential. Next slide, please. And basically, remember that when you're assigned a mentor, please stay with that mentor for 6 months at least, and then carry on with the rest. So what do you expect from a mentor? What should a mentor know? First of all, the Toastmaster structure. What is the difference between a club, area, division, and a district? How many clubs do you need to have an area? How many areas are there in a division? How many divisions does our district have? Why should there be so many divisions or not? What are the different pathways programs with the electives and the HPL? If both of you go through your electives together, you will find that there are a lot of electives that you can actually do without worrying about the order even. You have to do your level 1, level 2, but your electives can go on in parallel. For example, it says conduct an online meeting. Almost everybody now is conducting an online meeting. Do that and mark it off, park it aside. You will only upload the projects in terms of level 1, level 2, when you have finished all the projects and each elective, but as many electives as you can, finish them, mark them as completed and park them aside. Your whole journey will be much, much faster when you do that. There are some pathways which also require high performance leadership project. Now this can be a project that can go on for 3 months, 6 months, even a year if you do it properly. Can be a short-term thing. For example, if you're doing a division conference, if you're the organizer, you have a month, 1.5 months, more than enough to do it. But understand what the project involves. First, you have to have an advisory management committee which tells you what to do. There's a self-analysis of your leadership style, and that committee will help you, guide you with your leadership values and actions. You have an executive committee that will carry out your things. So therefore, understand leadership in terms of, if I'm a leader, how do I manage my group? So these are things that you should actually do without just ticking off HPL as something that has happened somewhere else and say, I did something last week, so therefore I'm going to file that as an HPL. Please don't do that, because you are wasting a learning experience for yourself. Sit with your mentor, understand the goal, and do that. Club meeting roles, club XCOM roles, what are all the things that the mentor should know, how these are conducted. In terms of contests, please know what is judging, contesting, contest management. Mentor should be able to understand these, go through the rule book and go through that. What are the business meetings that a club should have, and what is parliamentary procedures? There are clubs that do this at every meeting. There are clubs that have a separate business meeting once a month. Each club can do its own, but please ensure that you have that. You will learn how to conduct meetings at your office, at your associations, in a million other places. What is the etiquette and protocol in terms of visiting Toastmasters, in terms of greeting Toastmasters, in welcoming, sending emails, invitations, any of these things, all of this the mentors should know. Again, in terms of elections, how do you elect XCOM members? Do you elect area directors? Do you elect division directors, district officers? How do you do all of these things? The mentor should do that. And goal setting. For all of these different things, you can have your own goals. Next slide, please. So therefore, the first step in mentoring is meeting the protege, discussing why they have joined Toastmasters, select a path, and the mentor should monitor the proteges during things as simple as timer, grammarian, R-counter rules, because those are your first steps as Toastmasters. Help them do this well. Mentor the speeches, evaluate them, mentor them when they're doing club meeting roles, club associate roles, roles outside the club, and even higher level responsibilities. So all of these, the mentor should have an active role. Next one, please. So what we're looking at is clubs can conduct awareness of mentor pool committee functions. You can nominate your club coordinators for the MPC and the mapping of proteges. Have an area boot camp for about 4 to 6 weeks. Some of our coordinators have already started that. Have a division awareness through panel discussions, workshops, and an event like this, district TLI events, will help you with greater awareness about Mentee. Next, next one, please. So that's all we look. And what do the division SPOCs do? They monitor the overall mentor protege list and the mapping, have close collaboration with the area directors and the club SPOCs, conducting membership awareness in this thing, and coordinating with the mentor pool committee to ensure mentors at all levels. So this is what the division SPOCs do. I have a list which I will probably show you at the end of the program. Right now, I will hand it back to Malini for our next program. Yes, Malini.
Thank you, Neena ma'am.
Welcome.
Thank you, Neena ma'am. That was a wonderful roadmap you gave about mentoring in Toastmasters. I'm sure all novice Toastmasters sitting here will have a good clarity. and even for people who have been in the system for quite some time, a better clarity. And to move ahead, as a novice Toastmaster, when I began my speech projects, all I could think of was a narration mode of my own life. But my mentor taught me how to give a screenplay effect to my speech. Instead of explicitly saying something, say it in a way which will make the audience take a guess and understand it by themselves. That's what she said. How and why to give an attention-grabbing opening. When to use a dialogue instead of a plain narration. When and where to portray the vulnerable side of oneself so that the audience can relate themselves to the speaker. How to conclude with a thought-provoking phrase. There is so much in drafting a good speech. Toastmaster Vivek and his team members, DTM Partha and Toastmaster Kumaravel are here to educate us about speech mentoring through a fun and theatrical exercise. Over to Toastmaster Vivek and his team.
Thank you, Malini. Our chief want in life is somebody who can make us do what we can. Toastmasters and guests. In the Toastmasters world, that somebody who can change, that somebody is known as a mentor. A mentor is someone who allows you to see the hope inside yourself. In our Toastmasters journey, we must be wondering how a mentor-protege relationship should be, how they work together, how they achieve together. It is easy to talk about mentor-mentee relationship for hours together, but we believe in a famous quote which says, don't talk, act. Don't say, show. Hence, to show you how actually a mentor-protege work together, especially for the purpose of your prepared speech, we had a conversation. For information, we didn't use Pegasus software. In this conversation, distinguished Toastmaster Partha is the mentor. Toastmaster Kumaravel is the protege. I overheard that Kumaravel, after delivering icebreaker, did not know what to do next. Fortunately or unfortunately, his VPE booked a speaking slot next week. In this context, Kumaravel reached out to his mentor for guidance. Friends, hearing is boring. Overhearing is interesting, isn't it? Can we now overhear what they talk?
Hi Partha, how are you doing?
Hey Kumaravel, how are you doing? I'm good here.
Yeah, I'm doing good as well, Partha. Actually, our VP called me and said it's been 1 month you gave your icebreaker, and then he assigned me a speaking slot in next 2 weeks. But I really don't know how to prepare, so I thought of getting help from you, Partha.
No problem, Kumaravel. You can be rest assured. Toastmasters has a program, Pathways, which helps you go ahead with your speech. You don't worry about what to do. This path neatly takes you from one point to another. So Kumaravel, did you actually work with your Vice President Education on getting a path on Pathways or anything of that sort? Have you selected a path?
Yes, Partha. VP Education helped me to select the path in Pathways.
Wonderful. Do you remember the name of that path?
Yeah, Partha, it was team collaboration.
Good. When you go into Pathways, Kumaravel, under the team collaboration, you'll be able to get more information about Pathways, and you will be able to see more examples, which will help you understand what you're going to do. There are assessments before and after you do a project to see what skills you have and what you can learn. And there's also a project checklist which takes you point by point what you have to do. Now, you said you have finished your first project, that is the icebreaker. The next project and the next recommended project is the evaluation and feedback. Now, there are three parts to this project, which has first two speeches and then evaluation. The first speech you can give about anything you want. Then you can receive feedback from your evaluator or the others in the club, and then apply that feedback in your second speech. If you remember engineering, there's something called control systems, where you'll have an input for processing and an output. And then control system with the feedback takes that feedback back into the input so that you can get a better output next time. So it's very similar to that.
Okay, that's interesting project, Partha. But I don't know where to start, because last time it was about me, so I was able to prepare. But this time I'm just confused.
That is true. The icebreaker is specifically designed to be about you because it's easier. But nevertheless, now the options even become more, because now you can speak about anything else in the world. You can have any topic here, Kumaravel. Only thing you have to remember is the purpose of your speech. Whether it's going to be to inform, entertain, or inspire, or a combination of both. And all these should be, and whatever you speak should be focused on one of these or a combination of these. So what you're going to speak could be based on your experience or what interests you or anything you have read in the past or recent. You can also talk about any thoughts that you have and you want to tell the next generation. Let's say your daughter, you want your daughter to do something. What is that information that you'll give? What is the information you want to share with your daughter so that she will take it for her future? So you can think on those lines also. Now, can you think of something that will really interest or it'll fall into that category?
Can I talk about mobile phones, Partha?
Sure, why not? Mobile phones are probably the talk of the town. You can talk a lot about mobile phones and you should be able to get good information about mobile phones. You can look at the various aspects, whatever you wanted to cover. What I also would suggest is you can add some more stories of your own, like in the sense what is your experience with the mobile phone, not just about what you have learned, but also add your own stories and anecdotes. And that will probably make a good script for you.
Sure, Partha. I think earlier we were using the mobile phone, but nowadays we use it for everything. So I thought I can come up with something on this topic.
Sure. You can put together a script. And we can review it after some time. Would you be able to send me the script in 2 days?
Yeah, sure, Partha. So can we meet after 2 days? I'll write the script and send it to you.
Yeah, you can send me the script in 2 days and give me a day's time so that I will be able to review it, and then we can meet a day after. So technically, we can meet 3 days later, but I would expect your script to be done.
Great. Thank you so much, Partha. I'll send you the script. Thanks for your time.
Welcome. Have a great day.
Friends, the best way to have an idea is to have more ideas. But in the Toastmasters world, an idea is just a phone call away. A phone call with his mentor, Kumaravel, got a speech idea. Well, what happened after 3 days? Was he able to draft his speech? Did he find any challenges in drafting? What was his mentor's comments? Let's overhear again what happened after 3 days.
Hi, Partha.
Welcome back. Hi.
Thank you, Partha. Yesterday, I sent the speech script on the idea that I had. You had a chance to look at it, Partha?
Sure, I did. Thank you so much for sending me your script in advance so that I could have a quick check on it. Let's go over that, Kumaravel, if you have the time right now.
Sure, I have time. We'll discuss now, Partha.
Kumaravel, when I looked into your script, I noticed that you had spoken about the mobile phone at the beginning in general, and then you came across your own experience about the mobile phone. Now, your own experience is something which will be very enticing to the audience. So try to put it up at the opening, and then you will get the audience interest, and they will be into your speech, and you'll be able to move on from that point onwards. Is that something you can do?
Yeah, great, Partha. So I'll move that part to the opening of my speech. I'll do it. Thank you.
That would be good. And also, I noticed because you sent me a digital version of your speech, I was able to see that there were some spelling corrections or recommendations from Microsoft Word. So better that you use Microsoft Word or Grammarly, any other tool which will automatically ensure that these grammar corrections are done. It's not just for correcting spellings, but it also helps to know the right spelling, pronunciation, plus whether the tense is used right or not. So that way you keep your speech at a simple tense and keep it very simple for the audience to listen.
Okay, I did not know that. So I'll explore this, Partha, so that will be helpful.
Sure, and not only that, give it a read after you do it so that you are able to get the same idea whatever you intended to. So that way you have after writing it out, you will understand if that's what you wanted to convey to the audience as well.
Great, I'll do that. Thank you.
Okay, going on to the body of whatever you had advantages and disadvantages of the mobile phone. So in the advantages, you had random number of advantages. Instead, I would suggest that you stick to just 3 and focus on those 3 and sort it by order of importance. For example, the least important advantage, you tell it first. The next one, the better one, and the best advantage will be the last. So that the interest of the audience is also increasingly taken ahead.
Okay, that's a good idea, Partha. I'll rearrange the points accordingly.
Sure. And when you are talking about the disadvantages, I know it's something that you'll have to tell, but the audience also would like to know more. So tell them what is the situation which has caused those disadvantages and what can they take out of it, in the sense, what can be done to minimize the effect or reduce the effect of those disadvantages. That way, it will help the audience understand whatever you are trying to do.
Yeah, sure, Partha. Valid point.
That's pretty much what I had. Do you have any other questions?
Yeah, Partha. So I want to check with you whether is it okay if I sit and deliver my speech?
Okay, in an online forum, there's no restriction of whether you should sit or stand, because we have it's convenient. It's based on convenience. But I would definitely recommend that you give a speech standing, so that gives you the energy to when you move, and it will also help you show a better body language. But make sure your camera is also placed a little bit further away, so that your entire stage is covered and your body gestures are also covered in that sense. And
Great.
not only that, in fact, when you are giving your dialogues, whenever you speech, you're having those dialogues, you'll be able to move better if you're standing rather than sitting. So that's definitely an advantage that you would get.
Yeah, I understand, Partha. I'll try to stand and deliver my speech. I'll
Okay,
practice more, Partha, and then can we meet after 2 days?
Yeah, let's meet after 3 days. And I would also have some more recommendations, which I will send it over an email about the conclusion portion, and that you can look at it and you can work on it subsequently.
Great. Thank you so much, Partha.
Okay, all the best.
I believe if your mentor is a chief cook, he won't cook, but will give you the right ingredients and guide you the right taste for whatever food that you want to cook. True mentors don't make their mentee a clone of themselves. Kumaravel wants to practice his speech with his mentor. Can't he just go by the comments he already gave? Would your practice session is required for your prepared speech? Let's see how well the practice session goes.
Hi, Kumaravel.
Hi, Partha. Yeah, I just tried practicing on my own, but I'm not sure how well I have done.
Not a problem. It's good that you even gave an attempt to practice. And the more you practice, I think the better, more confidence that you get into speaking. Now let's get started. Why don't you go ahead with your speech? I'll take some notes here so that I can give you feedback at the end of your speech.
Yeah, sure, Partha. I'll give the speech now.
Yeah, sure. And before you get started, make sure you have do you have a timer device with you?
Yes, Partha. I have Toastmasters timing app ready.
Wonderful. So let's get started.
Yesterday, my daughter cried and said, "I will not eat food." Then my wife came with a beautiful idea of mobile phone. That was the time my mind started to go to my past, where the days I was using the mobile phones. But nowadays, the mobile phone is using us. I started to ask a question: is using the mobile phone is good or bad?
Pause. I don't have the patience to listen to the full speech like Partha. Let me fast forward and see what's happened in the conversation.
Thank you, Kumaravel, for giving the entire speech, and I was able to make notes. I think you deserve a round of applause. A well done job at practicing your speech. Now, I'd like to go through your speech portion by portion. You remember in the beginning, you said your daughter was crying. Now, when your daughter cries, you have to imagine yourself being your daughter. So what will be that emotion, that frustration that will be in her voice? So try to bring that emotion there, because that is the realism you can bring to your speech. And the next part, when you're saying your wife pitches in, even before your wife pitches in, try to recollect what was the mood in your family. How did that happen? And how did that become, how did that make a change? Was it just something beautiful, or was it something magical? Think of that lines and see if you can incorporate these changes and try.
Definitely, Partha.
Let's give a try again, Kumaravel.
I will not eat food, said my daughter. We were all perplexed and did not know what to do next. There came my wife with a magical box called mobile phone. That was the time my mind started to spin to my past, the good olden days where we used mobile phones. And nowadays, mobile phone is using us. Is using the mobile phone is good or bad?
That's nice, Kumaravel. Good job. So let's move on to the next part of your body, of your speech.
Sure, Partha.
Friends, mentoring is a brain to pick, an ear to listen, and a push in the right direction. I think the practice session is really going well. Let's get back to the conversation. And here, is there any final touch from the mentor?
Hey, Kumaravel, glad we had this entire session, and I was able to go through each part of your speech. And your speech has really come out well, because we have carved it out very well. So my suggestion is you keep rehearsing, because that's going to help you understand more on the subtleness of whatever you're doing. And in case you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me later on.
Thank you so much, Partha, for your valuable inputs. I'll keep practicing, and I hope I'll be able to deliver better in the club.
Great. Looking forward to your speech, Kumaravel. Bye.
Friends, Kumaravel, within a week from nowhere, what to do, now he's ready with his speech. This sums up, you cannot teach a man anything. You can only help him discover it within himself. Have you discovered your mentor? Have you discovered the value of mentoring? If not, it's not too late to discover. Hope you enjoyed this role play. Back to you, Toastmaster Malin.
Thank you, Toastmaster Vivek, DTM Partha, and Toastmaster Kumaravel. I'm filled with nostalgia. You people literally took me 3 decades back to my school days. That's when, I've been watching role plays and been performing role plays too. But now, again, after so many years, I'm suddenly, reminded of role plays and how to do it, the purpose of role plays. And it's very clear for me now. And I'm sure it's clear for the others also, like what a mentor should do, what a protege should do. That was a wonderful show. And to move ahead, mentoring in Toastmasters is not just mentoring a person to do his speech projects, or helping him do a meeting role. There is much more to it. Come, let us enlighten ourselves on the various facets of mentoring by a district director, Toastmaster Satish Menon and his panelists, DTM Sampath Saurirajan, DTM Ashok Kumar, DTM Neena John, and DTM Gayatri. Over to Toastmaster Satish Menon.
Thank you, Toastmaster Malini. A very good afternoon to all of you. Welcome to this part of the session where we will talk about the various aspects of mentoring. For those of you who are new to this, would only be wondering that mentoring is only between the mentor and the mentee, but that is just one part of the mentoring. There are many aspects to the entire concept of mentoring in Toastmasters and beyond. So to talk on that, we have an eminent panel today of distinguished Toastmasters, different levels of experience in Toastmasters. So we have DTM Sampath Saurirajan, DTM Ashok, DTM Neena John, and DTM Gayatri. So I would first ask DTM Sampath Saurirajan to just talk about what it means, this entire concept of pathways mentoring. So if you have to tell this to somebody to say, what is pathways mentoring? What would be the right response to give?
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Satish, for that nice introductory question. As we all know, we're not going to a pathways primer because we're supposed to know 11 paths and 5 levels, blah, 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 all those things. But what will be the role of a mentor? Earlier, in legacy times, mainly it was speaking skills, and many mentors were not involved in advanced projects mentoring, and then some amount of leadership and other roles. But in pathways, there is a need for the mentor to do much more. It starts from the very beginning when the new member wants to take up a path. Choosing a path is quite tricky. The Toastmasters International gives us a questionnaire based on which they are making suggestions. Unfortunately, most of us are not experts in answering that questionnaire. I have found many people answering what is the right answer. They will try to guess. For example, are you consulting others before taking a decision? Nobody wants to say that I don't do it. So because of this, there's an inherent difficulty in this. So choosing a path is more an important thing in which the mentor can help. The member should understand his current position, strengths and weaknesses, and his middle term and short term goals, where he wants to reach, where he wants to strengthen himself. Based on that, the mentor can give him some idea, and then he can, of course, take the questionnaire and finally make his choice. This is choice. Next one is the planning the path. Already DTM Neena touched a little bit on this area earlier today. See, the path has got 5 levels. Advanced levels have got different electives of different types. Some you can directly go and take and within 1 week prepare as a speech and deliver. Some you have to do some study or survey. Some you have to do an activity, lead, or do something. Some of them can be 1 month, 3 months, 6 months. So you cannot suddenly one day wake up and next week I got a speech. What is my next project? Oh, I have to work 6 months for my next project. In 1 week, how can I do it? So it should not happen. This is where planning the path is a very important thing. And obviously the new member cannot do it very efficiently. Mentor has to handhold and then do that. So the choice of the electives, which will be best suited for his own, the direction of that particular path. Because there are many electives, some electives can be done very easily. The member should not try to take an easy route. The mentor should guide him which is the most beneficial route. So in the choice of electives and in the planning, including the timeline, he can do that. Now, third, we come to the project mentoring. For mentoring each project, the mentor has to completely study the project beforehand or at that time, and then tell the new member, his mentee, what are the things he's supposed to do? You have to make a study of this. You have to make a survey. You have to prepare something like this. You have to form a team and do this. So for that thing, whether the member is doing a good job or not, the mentor has to continuously guide. So after these are the three jobs, and the last tag is once he gets the feedback, the mentor should take the feedback on the project and the speech delivered, and then work with the mentee for future further improvement. Back to Satish.
Thank you, DTM Sampath, for explaining it in concise 5 minutes of what is all about pathways mentoring. Now, anything that we do in life, and that also includes what we do in Toastmasters, requires us to set certain specific goals and work towards that goals to achieve our dreams or whatever we have planned out to do in a time-bound and successful manner. So let me ask the next question to DTM Ashok Kumar in terms of the relevance of a proper goal setting in pathways. DTM Ashok.
Thank you, Satish Menon. Goal setting is important in any dimension of our life, be it personal, professional, or Toastmasters, or any other activity that we take up. Generally, when members join Toastmasters, they have a very fair idea of, okay, I want to improve public speaking and leadership skills. But then after joining Toastmasters, once they come to know that there are 11 different paths and 300 plus competencies that can be developed across all these paths, they need to have some goals. Research says that written goals have more probability of success. Also, goals that are shared with others have even more probability, higher probability of success. We all have some goals in our mind. It's not that people just join and then loiter around here or do as they want. Also, Toastmasters says the progress for individuals is self-paced. But at the same time, even the self-paced can be converted into goals. For example, someone may decide or have the bandwidth to do a path in 9 months or 12 months, within a year. Whereas some other busy person who is going through a very critical phase in his life or career may take even longer, 18 months or 24 months. It doesn't matter. As long as they are making the progress and they are conscious about what they are progressing about. If it is clear for them, then it is okay. So goal setting becomes very important in Toastmasters. In fact, even in the traditional program, as soon as you are, VP's job is to assign a mentor, and the mentor is supposed to spend time initially with the protege and understand the needs of that person, whether it could be communication related or leadership related or any other competence. So it's better to set the goals in the beginning itself. Probably when the person joins Toastmasters, within a couple of months, they come to know many things that happen in Toastmasters. At that point in time, they can have the dialogue and then finalize the goals. In my opinion, anyone who joins within the first 3 months, they should be able to set their goals. Initially, they can have some goals, but they can revise it, review it every 3 months or 6 months. Having goals will be very, very beneficial because you have something like a timeline. Okay, if something doesn't happen by so-and-so time, then your mentor can ask you what is happening. It's also recommended that goals are to be reviewed with the mentor every month. In Pathways mentor program, that is recommended. Every month you are supposed to review the goals, review the progress with your mentor. If that is not possible, at least once in 3 months, we should review the progress with the mentor. I started setting goals when I started my Pathways mentor program last year. After that, it was kind of new experience for me. I discussed with my mentee. We came up with some set of goals. Then we spread that culture in our club as a whole. There are 4 types of goals which we came up with: role-based goals, educational goals, skill-based goals, and leadership goals. Probably these things I can elaborate at a later point. Back to you, Toastmasters.
Thank you. Thank you, DTM Ashok, for that quick and I would say concise explanation of how goal setting is so very important in pathways. Now we all talk about individual members' aspirations, goals. What about people who aspire for leadership positions in Toastmasters? Obviously, we've all seen in life that the best leaders are the ones who have had the company of equally great mentors to guide them through their journey. And to ask the question of how important is leadership mentoring in Toastmasters, let me call upon DTM Neena John to just talk about leadership mentoring.
Thank
DTM
you.
Neena.
Thank you, District Director Satish Menon. And I'm sure all of you agree with me when I say nobody joins Toastmasters to become a leader. Everybody joins to improve their communication skills. Whether it is to talk better at the office or snare that pretty girl, or have a good comeback with your classmates, improve the presentation skills in the office, whatever it is. 90 to 100% of people join Toastmasters to improve their professional skills, their communication skills. But then, as Shakespeare said, some are born leaders, some achieve the position of leadership, and some have leadership thrust upon them. In Toastmasters, we have all 3 categories. The natural born leaders are the ones who automatically fast forward their progress on the different paths. They take up responsibilities proactively. They're the ones who are there every time in terms of club roles, in terms of active participation in every single activity. They're the ones who are in the forefront naturally. There are some who are stuck and they say, I'm not a leader. But when you have the situation, you find that leadership potential within you. I was quoting the example of a financial corporate club, which due to the regular attrition, turnover, all of these things, was left with about 2 or 3 members. And this lady was telling me, there are only 2 or 3 members. I've been here only for 6 months. Our club is going to die. I don't know what to do, but I can't let the club die. And when you have that passion, you become a champion of Toastmasters. So she sat around literally didn't sit around. She literally went cubicle to cubicle, talked about Toastmasters and gathered enough people to get the club going in about 6 months or so. And this I'm talking about is a corporate club in America. It is exactly the same situation everywhere. Some people think, I just joined Toastmasters. I don't know what to do, but let me see what I can do. And that's how you learn by doing things. Even at a physical meeting, when you walk into the club venue, there are some people who always extend their hands for putting up the banners, arranging the chairs, doing all these things. And that simple bonding leads to situations where somebody says, come on, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? And that's how the whole journey starts. So what does a mentor do? The mentor is the senior person who may have been assigned by the VPE or any senior member of the club who spots that potential, who says, listen, let's use this person. This one has good graphic skills. And, let's see if they can do help with the newsletter. This is someone who can help with, the area contest registrations. Just those simple acts, one by one, is how a mentor grooms Toastmasters for greater responsibilities. This is a combination of people who do things actively on their own and some who are pushed by mentors, but either way, that journey can be a really, really fulfilling one. And it is really up to the senior members who do not necessarily have to be labeled mentors of X, Y, or Z. Whoever you are a member of the club, and lifting up the quality of the club is your responsibility. As I say, CTM, we keep saying, is the ATM of, not only the ATM of DTMs, but for a club to have produced 3 district directors, plus any number of division directors, area governors, area directors, etc., proves the quality of the club as the kind of atmosphere that encourages leadership. So leadership is not the duty of one person, one mentor pushing one protege. It is the entire club. And what we need to do as District 120 is to ensure that we build up that leadership culture, build up that communication culture that aims for a WCPS champion and ensures that both communication and leadership tracks are well taken care of. Back to you, moderator.
Thank you, GTM Meena. Very rightly said that the mentor plays a very important role behind nurturing somebody as a true leader. And again, leadership is not about titles, it's all about what you do in the face of adversity and what is the passion that you have to make things moving. Now, a lot of us know about individual mentoring. So when we talk about mentorship, the first thing that people think about is, oh, mentor-mentee relationship, somebody to mentor me, or I've got more than one mentors for me, which is also the case with some of us. But very few of us would have heard this terminology called club mentoring. So what is mentoring a club? Some would say it's as simple as putting a group of individuals together. Everybody has a mentor, so collectively they are all being mentored. So that's club mentoring. But I don't think that is it. It's not that simple. So let us call upon our current club growth director, DTM Gayatri, to talk about the various aspects of club mentoring. Over to you, Gayatri.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Toastmaster Satish. Club mentoring is like one role where you have to perform everything that we heard so far. So a club mentor is someone who needs a little bit of experience and a little bit of experience in everywhere. It's not just individual mentoring. It is also required that they perform at least a couple of XCOM roles before they get into a club mentoring. So a club mentor is assigned when a club is newly chartered. And if the club mentor thinks that, many of the times the common misconception is that the club mentor is required to attend the meeting week on week for the first 6 months and then their duty is done. Ideally, if the club mentor does that, it is very likely that the club will close after that 6 months, because a club mentor may or may not be available during the meeting. What makes more important, the more important aspect is that the club mentor is available to work with the XCOM. So I used to say that the club mentor should attend all the XCOM meetings in the initial few months, set the process for the club so that the club sustains even without the mentor. Ideally, a club mentor's role is complete when the club mentor is no longer required. And I've seen very passionate Toastmasters who are still in touch with the club, and the club still addresses them as their club mentor. They may not be involved in the day-to-day affairs or the meetings of the club, but still there is somebody who is available in case the club needs a senior person's intervention. So what should a club mentor do? Ideally, the club mentor should befriend the first set of people who are part of the club, the 20 members. Assign an individual mentor for each of the club. Today, we have the mentor pool committee, which is going to ease up this task, and the mentor pool SPOC can help the club mentor assign the mentors to the members. The club mentor is required to work with the XCOM. The club mentor is supposed to set a goal with the XCOM to see where the club has to be in the first few months. At least first 3 months goal has to be set and then kept on revised, so that the club understands that in the first month they will have these educational sessions. There should be a themed meeting in the second month. There should be an outdoor meeting planned, or there should be a contest coming up. So we should gear up for that. So the club mentor works with the ExCom, plans for the club, and then the ultimate aim is to ensure that the club enters a self-sustained mode and then slowly withdraws the support so that the ExCom take care of the club, and then the mentor is available whenever there is a requirement. So yeah, the club mentor it's like a second level of mentoring where they are supposed to get the people mentored through another person, work with the mentors of the club or the ExCom leaders of the club, and accomplish a goal. So it is not a very direct approach. They are supposed to accomplish things through another set of person. But to me, it is one of the best things to do, because I think it is the requirement of every leader in every corporate or anywhere that we work. This is the biggest requirement for us to see how big we can achieve. So that to me is club mentoring in a nutshell. Back to you, Satish.
Thank you. Thank you, DTM Gayatri, for that good explanation about club mentoring. Now, my next question to DTM Sampath is, how does one select a right mentor?
In the very beginning, for the member, everybody is equally good or equally bad. So we should not select the mentor. And the VP normally does it, and the VP has got this responsibility. In fact, if you see the handbook under VP, the mentoring development is also there. What is mentoring development? Not the individual mentor development. Mentoring development is the mentoring scene in the club. So there should be equitable distribution. If there is a likelihood already, as Nina said, the first impression is not the best impression many times. Because that day you come and somebody does a very humorous take on the table topic and everybody is clapping and he gets the ribbon, okay, he is my mentor. It's wrong, actually. So the mentor should be allotted on the first time, certainly, by the VP education, seeing the equitable distribution, and so that the same person is not troubled too much also in terms of bandwidth. But when you see a new member taking up just joining, he is not going to tell his mentor, tomorrow I want to be WCPS. He doesn't ask, his doubts and problems are, what is this role? What is that role? What is this path, different paths? What is the difference? So what should I do? So, you know, how 1 year should I finish so many projects? These are all the type of doubts and everything. Any mentor who has supposedly completed 2 years, as we already described, and done at least 2 levels, he has the background, he can help. And in case that mentor is not able to answer some questions, he can always fall back on any seniors or his own mentor. So the mentor is assigned only by the VP in the beginning. After 6 months, 1 year, you can ask for a different mentor depending on the time compatibility, etc. And if you are keen on contesting, you can ask for a different mentor, or you can add on an extra mentor for contest. Back to you.
Thank you, DTM Sampath. My next question to DTM Ashok is, if one is doing a proper planning of goals on how to achieve mentorship, what are the 3 best ways to kind of review your goals on a periodic basis? I know a lot of people start with very ambitious goals, and over a period of time, they somehow lose track, and then they kind of almost give it up. And this is not only in Toastmasters, across different aspects of life also. So what would be like 2 or 3 good techniques to kind of stay focused on the goals that you have set out for yourself in Toastmasters?
Thank you, District Director Satish. One thing is, better to limit the number of goals. 3 goals at a time is easy to, 3 goals at a time are easy to track when it comes to Toastmasters or every such field. And how do you know that you are progressing or not? For example, somebody sets a goal saying that I want to complete level 1 in 4 months. They have to set that micro planning also, like saying that first speech I'll give by in the next 3 to 4 weeks. Second speech or second project, first speech after that time. Like that they have to set. Then during the monthly review with the mentor, or otherwise also self review can also be done. At that point, they can see whether they have at least prepared, if they have set the goal to complete one speech in the next 4 weeks, at least they should have identified the topic, written the script, sent it for review, and then rehearse the speech, and then only they can deliver in the club. Also, they also have to get the slot allotted to them. If they have not done any of these things, then they should know that, okay, they are not progressing. The same thing, sometimes some projects may require, as DTM Nina said, may require 6 months or even up to 12 months. There is one project that says lead in any situation. That says you need to do a project for a minimum of 6 months. That specifies that it is a minimum of 6 months. If you do not know, but set a goal saying that, okay, I will complete level 5 in the next 3 months, then that is wrong planning itself. So this is where the mentor also has to help and review. Many people, sometimes I get the feeling that they don't go through the base camp learning material. In fact, base camp learning material gives a lot of, it's a wealth of resource for anyone who wants to learn many things. Even for the second project in level 1, evaluation and feedback, where you can talk on any topic, there is a lot of information there in that. Similarly, organizing your speech, how to organize, that is available in some other project, like maybe in researching and presenting, that kind of, those details are available. Sometimes people may even set lower goals, not very ambitious goals. Even for them, in case they thought they want, initially they said in 6 months, I want to complete the second level, but then they are able to complete in 3 months. That means either because of the bandwidth or whatever, they were able to complete. They can also do the revision once in 3 months or 6 months. That is my suggestion. So they will know. There are many ways you can also review the progress. For example, if you set a goal saying that I want to improve my body language, especially eye contact. Some people may be looking somewhere, a ceiling or something. After some time, after getting feedback regularly, they may be able to look at the screen or at the audience. These are the ways they can know that they are progressing with their goals. Back to you, Satish.
Thank you, DTM Ashok. My next question to Nina is, some people want to rise up the leadership role very, very fast. And that's something that we've seen is that just because I have been in a certain position and have done a lot of things, I believe that I'm not ready for higher roles, which may not be the case. Especially in Toastmasters, when we see there are senior people who spend a lot of time in Toastmasters before they climb up the ladder. But at the same time, on the other hand, we see people who are new to Toastmasters suddenly wanting to just run up the ladder. I would say not even climb, they just want to run. So how do we kind of give the right kind of mentoring? Because everything that you want to do at a leadership role comes with the right kind of experience that you have done. And with some people, you tell them, well, you are not yet ready. They don't take it in the right spirit. They think that you are trying to put them down or you don't want them to rise quickly. So what would be the right kind of mentoring to be done in such cases?
Well, thank you for that question. And I clearly remember one gentleman who had joined CTM from another club. And I don't think he was even an ex-com member. And the first thing that he wants to do is to stand for president of the club. And I'm saying, please, you have to be in a club for at least 6 months to a year. You should do different ex-com roles, especially VP membership, education, and then president, not just become president overnight. Because there is a wealth of experience, there's a wealth of exposure, there's a whole lot of people management that is required. Every club has a different culture. And you need to understand that club's culture before you decide that you are going to helicopter yourself into the position of president, just because I think I can do it. Luckily, he took my advice and therefore we were saved from one disaster, but sometimes that disaster does happen. So you find people hopscotching their way and leaping over hurdles to stand away, for example, to stand for division governor without being area director. Now, the problem is what I call limelightitis or title disease. I want that title. So, and I want to be in the limelight. I want to be the one giving all the speeches when the contestants are receiving their prizes and all of those things. But being an area director is a grassroots position that helps you understand how different clubs function. How does each club differ from the other club? Because there is no one solution, one template that fits a corporate club or a second corporate club or even two community clubs. The demographics of each club are different. The area director needs to understand what works in one will not work in the other, but what can I do to help this club grow? So when the area director does that, they understand the inner workings of the Toastmaster hierarchy. The same thing applies for division governor. Being a division governor is a macro level position that helps you liaise with the top management and the area directors and the clubs. So that is another learning process. And I found for myself that when TI has now embarked on specific trainings for CGD, PQD, and district director, which involve a whole lot of other things that we didn't even know about when we were division directors or whatever. We could barely read the dashboard, and you guys have to do this every day. I don't think I would be able to do that, tracking the numbers, tracking the figures, keeping aware of what is happening in trends in your district, the other districts, all of these. So I would suggest take it step by step, because you need to understand each role rather than immediately jumping to become anything. And maybe I'm talking too much, but we already had an example of a district director candidate being helicoptered in with less than 6 months in the district. I mean, he was standing for district director election. I was like, how will a district accept him if they haven't heard of him 6 months earlier? So that was my point. So you really need to understand all that before you get into all these things. So I would recommend do a few XCOM roles at the club. Do at least extended responsibilities at area and division committees. That way you at least have a feel of what the area and division governor and director have to do. And then you think about standing for a position. So you need to be armed with both experience and the theory and the practice, so to speak. Back to you, Satish.
Thank you, Nina. It's very, very well put in terms of what you need to have with you before you get into leadership roles. Gayatri, the next question to you is in terms of club mentoring. Now we know that clubs have a mentor, and after some point of time, members change, mentors change. What is the best way for a club to build a legacy and maintain the legacy?
Thank you, District Director Satish. In fact, one of the strong reasons why a club sustains or not sustains that I have seen over the few years that I have spent with Toastmasters is the ability of the club to create leaders year after year. So ideally, when an XCOM is elected, at least by the 3rd month, they should know who are the potential people who would be able to take up the XCOM roles in the next term. So, only if they are identified, whether they are available to take up or not is a different question. There may also always be a change in the plan, but the XCOM should start creating the next set of leaders right from the 3rd month, so that there could be assistant president, assistant vice president education. That will also ease up the role of the XCOM. More importantly, if there is a requirement for a milestone chair, if there is a requirement for a contest chair, you don't have to go and check and start searching for a new person at that time. And for a person who has just joined the club, and probably they may have a little bit of leadership experience in their profession, giving these roles such as milestone chair or a contest chair to begin with will help them understand the nuances of Toastmasters, because there are a lot of protocols, there are a lot of processes that we get to acquaint ourselves, which is one of the important aspects of leadership. How do you carry yourself with others? How do you treat others so that they feel respected? This is the first step wherein they start getting these chair roles. Eventually, they should start getting the XCOM roles as well. And then beyond that, of course, it depends on everybody's priorities and preferences. But to me, for a club to sustain beyond a point or sustain even after the 6 months or 1 year, it is very important that the club brings in a process wherein the next set of leaders are automatically identified. So immaterial of other things, if there are people who are very passionate about carrying this club forward, taking up leadership roles in the XCOM team, then I think the club sustenance is taken care by large extent. So this is one thing that I have observed in my experience with working of the clubs. Back to you, sir.
Thank you, Gayatri. Thank you for that explanation. Now, if I were to ask each one of you, like, say one sentence about how mentoring is beneficial, what would that be? And one can say one line which it is beneficial, and one thing which a mentor and a mentee should not do. So one thing, if each one of you can have those two responses from your side to kind of close the session, it would be great. So let me start first with DTM Sampath.
Okay, now what we watch the positive side. The mentor should understand that he benefits a lot. So he has always a positive outlook, and he has to radiate this to the mentee. The mentee during that relationship should feel that it is good for him. He is slowly learning, and one day he is going to be good as a performer, as a mentor in the future. This is the positive side. The negative side, I have often told this with different example cases also. We should not try to impose our style on the mentee. That should never be done. Even starting from English, see, if the mentee's grammar is not very good, slowly let him improve. Don't start correcting every script, every sentence for the grammar or make him correct. Do that. Actually, it will be an impediment to the mentee. So we should not try to force our ideas on the mentee. Let him develop in his own way. For that, what best we can do. So we should not force anything. That is the negative side we should avoid.
Thank you. Thank you, DTM Sampath. DTM Ashok.
Yeah, for the mentor, the benefit is that he or she gets a new friend, I would say. The protege also is a new connection for the person. The networking skill can develop. A new type of personality they are getting in contact, and how to guide that person. It's a new learning for the mentor. What the mentor should not do, in my opinion, is push too much. They can try to influence, but not push the protege to perform. They may have other commitments, whatever reason. Understand be empathetic with the mentee. That's what I would say. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, DTM Ashok. DTM Nina.
I would say definitely mentoring is the best learning process you can ever enter into, because you learn so much and you are like the sage on the stage, so you better have all the answers ready, and if nothing else, go back after the meeting is over and look up what you should know or should not know. So yes, mentoring is a learning process. And what is the second one?
What is the one thing which a mentor and a mentee should not do?
Take each other for granted. The minute you take each other for granted, that's the end of the relationship. But to go back to what we had coined for our team last year, what should a mentor do? Let the mentee grow, let the mentee glow, and let the mentee go. So bring them up and nurture them, give them positions to shine in every different way. And after a certain period of time, say, thank you, it's been nice being a mentor. get on with your life. Let me get on with mine. So back to you.
Thank you. Thank you, DTM Nina. Over to Gayatri.
For me, mentoring is the most understated but the best benefit of Toastmasters, because outside of Toastmasters, it's not easy to ask somebody to be our mentor. In Toastmasters, it's very easy. And people also, accept to most of the mentoring that they are requested for, if it comes with a real reason or real valid reason which they can satisfy. So if we get the right mentor, we will never leave this moment. That is something that I've seen. People who have the one mentor whom they respect and follow by large, we will never leave the moment. One thing we should not do, I think it is more on the lines of what Nina Ma'am said. Beyond a point, the mentor and mentee may not be able to satisfy each other's requirements. So it is better to let them go and then grow forward, or at least have another mentor and then take it forward. And it is not something that we have to take it harsh or hard. We should only feel happy. I've seen that in many clubs, it's a common culture that people get mentored by some people, up to some extent, and then they inform that person and then they move forward. It's all taken in a very cordial way. Sometimes the mentors don't feel so good about it. So to let go is also something that we should feel happy about, is something that I would say.
Thank you. Thank you, Gayatri. And thank you very much for all the panelists for having shared your thoughts and ideas. And definitely, I would say this would have been great inputs to the audience at large to show what is the true impact of mentoring and how to be a successful mentee and a successful mentor. I'm sure that people would definitely take it in their learnings going ahead with the clubs and members. Thank you very much, all of you, for your time. Back to you, Toastmaster Malini.
Thank you, Toastmaster Satish Menon. Great insights by our stalwarts. Thank you, DTM Sampath, DTM Ashok, DTM Nina, DTM Gayatri, and DTM Satish Menon. That was enlightening to know about the various facets of mentoring. And to move forward, it is so much fun to sit in the rear seat and go around in a chauffeur-driven car. But what it is to sit in the driver's seat and steer the vehicle by ourselves. Going to the club every week, doing a speech project, or doing a meeting role does take some effort. But what it is to be part of the executive committee or take up responsibilities at the area, division, or district level. Here is Toastmaster Sriram, along with Toastmaster Chellakannan and Toastmaster Anirudhan, to do a role play on leadership mentoring. Over to Toastmaster Sriram and his team.
Thanks, Malini, for this introduction. Very good evening, all. Able to hear me?
Good evening.
Yeah, same. Okay. So now it's time for mentoring, how we can play an important role in grooming leaders for the future. Now let's take a break from Toastmasters for a short while and see, in real life, not all leaders are successful in their mission. Yeah, real leaders' competence is measured during the time of crisis. To illustrate this, let us look at a short video which emphasizes the importance of teamwork and bringing the right kind of controls during this situation. Now, Toastmaster Chellakannan is going to play the video.
We'll go out for pineapple, my little bubbly-headed bubbly-boo.
Skipper, look. Analysis. It looks like a small incandescent bulb, designed to indicate something out of the ordinary, like a malfunction.
I find it pretty and somewhat hypnotic.
That too, sir. Right. Rico, manual.
Problemo solved.
Sir, we may be out of fuel.
What makes you think that?
We've lost engine 1. And engine 2 is no longer on fire.
Buckle up, boys. Don't look dull. This might get hairy. Attention, this is your captain speaking. I've got good news and bad news. The good news is we'll be landing immediately. The bad news is we're crash landing. When it comes to air travel, we know you have no choice whatsoever. But thanks again for choosing Air Penguin.
I know you won't mind when I tell you. Come on, tell me anything. Tell me what.
I broke your iPod!
What?
The buttons were so small! It made me mad!
The horror!
I'm sorry!
I'm gonna kill you,
It was an accident! Rico, you've had your fun. Pull up. Gear down. Gently now, you just want to kiss the ground. Just a little peck, a smooch like you're kissing your sister. I said kiss it. Now just a little break, just a touch, a little whisper.
I believe that's checkmate.
Commence emergency landing procedure. Flaps up. Deploy.
Only 2 passengers unaccounted for, Skipper.
That's a number I can live with. Good landing, boys. Who says a penguin can't fly?
So thanks for that comic video. Hope all of you enjoyed this. But the message is very clear. It's teamwork and how well we execute the entire journey. That's the job of a great leader. Now coming back to Toastmasters. Now let's look at from within our Toastmaster perspective how leadership can be developed within our own community. To illustrate this, we have 2 members from our current PC group. Toastmaster Anirudh has completed 1 year in his club, and he's just stuck in the journey. And he doesn't know how to move forward because all he knows is communication. Communication, he is able to learn and complete one level, a complete path. Now he's stuck. He doesn't know what is that he can get more from Toastmasters. And at this point in time, we have Toastmaster Chalakannan and another similar myself trying to answer his queries. So let's put this scenario in front of us, everybody. Now, over to you, Toastmaster Anirudh.
Good evening, Toastmaster CK and Sriram. Thanks for agreeing to meet with me after this wonderful meeting. So just as the video that we saw, I have been asked by my manager to work on my leadership skills lately. I have been in Toastmasters for a year, and my manager or my supervisors have always praised me for my communication skills, on how I am getting better at presenting to a customer or working in a team. So these are all good things that I have got out of Toastmasters. But lately, to help me elevate to the next level, my supervisor feels that I should work on my leadership skills. Skills like how I probably work on crisis management, or if there is a customer to be handled well, how do I handle that? So these are all skills that I'm still trying to work on. And with you as senior Toastmasters, I have always looked up to you as to how you lead. And so I thought I would know from you yourself as to how I can better myself and become a better leader, leveraging the Toastmasters for.
Thank you, Toastmaster Anirudh. It was a great question. I think this question, most of the younger Toastmasters should have in their mind, right? So what we should do? I am stuck in my career. What can I do? So before I start giving my answer to this question, can I ask you a few questions, Toastmaster Aniruddhan?
Yeah, sure, Toastmaster.
Sure. So currently you have chosen which path for your Toastmaster journey, Toastmaster Aniruddhan?
I have chosen dynamic leadership. So that was what was assigned to me based on my interest. And also I have completed my level 2 currently.
Okay. So you have completed your level 2 on dynamic leadership, right? So I'm so happy to know that your current level of achievement in your professional career, right? As you have well explained, you are able to see a good credit from your manager, from your teammates, that you have been doing excelling in your communication part, right? So definitely this is what Toastmasters journey all about, right? So with the level 2 of completion, you have been doing a great job on your communications part. Now you are aspiring to be a leader, right? So the Toastmasters is balancing both. What do you want? Communication and then leadership. As TTM Meena John Madam clearly explained how the leadership mentorship help us to take our journey to the next level. So let me simply tell you, so just keep continuing what you are doing on your Toastmasters path, Aniruddhan. So now the level 3, level 4, and level 5. These are all the very critical levels which will definitely help you to take you to a leadership goals. For example, in the level 4, we have been given excellent elective projects. If you say, I want to try a new thing, right? So you said, my manager is asking me how I can manage a critical customer, right? So here, there is a elective project for it, managing a critical customer. So we have a project for it. Or if your manager, your teammates asking you to do a brand new project work, which you have never tried. In Toastmasters, in level 4, you have a project called Managing a Project Successfully. So you can do that project and take your experience and come and present that to your club, what you have done. This way, you are trying something new from your professional area and then bringing it a project to the Toastmasters, right? So this is not only going to end. We have level 4, managing change, managing difficult audience, managing online meetings. So these are all the skills definitely needed for us to take to the next level, leadership level, right? So the leadership is not something I manage my work, right? As a leader, you are going to manage your team, right? So if you do your level 4 elective projects effectively, definitely you can see the difference, what you are going to do. And then moving to the level 5, there is a beautiful project, High Performance Leadership, HPL. Here in Toastmasters, you can take any one of the critical roles. Now, all the leaders, district leaders spoke about so many leadership roles, right? Take any one of the role. You are a mentor. You can take a club mentor and contest chair, contest master, whatever be the roles. You take your experience, note down, and then come and present here. So this way, you are building your leadership unknowingly, so that it can be the next level easily you can go by. Okay, so as a Toastmaster, we have so many tools to go. But before I became a Toastmasters, I was given when I told this to my non-Toastmaster mentor, he told me one simple secret. Okay, but don't tell this secret to anyone. This is only for non-Toastmasters. Okay, so I'll just share my screen. Boss is always right. If he is wrong, follow rule number 1. So this is what I was told when I was before non-Toastmasters. But being a Toastmaster, be proud. We have so many things, so many projects. Keep going. I'll wishing you all the best, and then keep going up.
Yeah.
Thanks, VK.
Yeah. Just to add to that, Toastmaster Anirudh, now that I completed 1 year in the club, Now you can start exploring XCOM roles. Now in the club, you have 7 roles which are leadership roles. We start with the foundation roles like secretary, sergeant at arms, treasurer. Then you can start scaling up higher in the leadership roles, taking up vice president education, public relationship, or membership, depending on your choice and interest. And of course, you can also try president's role. Now, all these leadership roles give a lot of learnings. If you look at one thing which is, I can say there are 2 great learnings which I learned from Toastmasters the last 8 years of my career. One is managing challenges. In this current situation, when the entire world is going through all this pandemic situation, we also have a lot of challenges in our current projects, and those challenges can be well managed only through proper learning. And this can happen through this kind of leadership groups. The second thing I would say is you also learn how to groom your team members. The success of a leader depends on the success of each of the team members. And that's what precisely you see in the club as well. So as a president in my last term, I had an opportunity to serve the club. And I also got to learn how to manage the different team members and make them successful. That way, you also succeed as a leader. So with this, I would say that try these ISCOM rules. I'm sure that you have more learnings as a leader and prove yourself to become a great leader.
Thank you, Sriram. I think I'll definitely take those inputs, especially the rule where the boss is always right. So I think that applies. And also with regards to Toastmasters, I'm looking forward to my levels 4 and 5 and hope, like I'm really looking forward to it so that I can better on my leadership capabilities and also the roles that are part of the club. I think I'll be more forthcoming to the roles, and that will help better myself. Thank you for your time today. And I think as mentors, you have shared your experiences, and this would definitely help me grow in my career as well.
All the best in your journey.
All the best, Anirudhan.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, friends, now our session doesn't end still. Now we have one small video which we are going to just show, just to showcase our great leader, father of nation, Mahatma Gandhi's leadership skills and how he handled in front of Britishers. Can you play that, Chalagan?
Forgive me, gentlemen, but you must understand that His Majesty's government and the British people repudiate both the massacre and the philosophy that prompted it. Now, what I would like to do is to come to some compromise over the new civil legislation.
Excuse me, Your Excellency, it is our view that matters have gone beyond legislation. We think it is time you recognized that you are masters in someone else's home. Despite the best intentions of the best of you, you must, in the nature of things, humiliate us to control us. General Dyer is but an extreme example of the principle. It is time you left.
With respect, Mr. Gandhi, without British administration, this country would be reduced to chaos.
Mr. Kinnock, I beg you to accept that there is no people on earth who would not prefer their own bad government to the good government of an alien power.
But yes, India is British. We're hardly an alien power.
Mr. Gandhi, even if His Majesty could waive all other considerations, He has a duty to the millions of his Muslim subjects who are a minority in this realm. And experience suggests that his troops and his administration are essential in order to secure the peace.
All nations contain religious minorities. Like other countries, ours will have its problems. But they will be ours, not yours.
How do you propose to make them yours? You don't think we're just going to walk out of India?
Yes. In the end, you will walk out. Because 100,000 Englishmen simply cannot control 350 million Indians if those Indians refuse to cooperate. And that is what we intend to achieve. Peaceful, non-violent, non-cooperation, till you yourself see the wisdom of leaving, Your Excellency.
Thank you, everyone. So it's a fantastic example demonstrated, leadership skill demonstrated by our great leader Mahatma Gandhi in front of British leaders. The main walkout means walkout. So they have to go out to achieve our independence. So that's what he said. Leadership is always taking our own chances and managing all the difficulties and win the situation, right? So let's all leaders, as a Toastmasters, we will make every situation win and we can succeed in our life. And also as a mentorship leaders, we have to show what we have achieved. We will show to the other leaders. We will make up other leaders. Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. For this.
Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sriram, Toastmaster Chalakan, and Toastmaster Anirudhan. Through a dialogue, you made it very clear how leadership is very important, and leadership mentoring, how important it is. And also you brought it out how pathways helps a person develop as a leader. That was really wonderful. Now it is time for question and answer session. Questions are welcome from the audience. DTM Aarti Mangalam is here to collaborate among the audience and then to facilitate this question and answer session. Over to DTM Aarti Mangalam.
Thank you so much, MC Malini. And thank you all members of District 120 for attending this session. Mentoring always has been a special area for all of us because somewhere or the others, formal or informal mentoring has been a part and parcel of our lives. And we heard the entire team talking about the importance of leadership mentoring, club mentoring, and individual mentoring. The more we learn about a subject, the more questions we have. If we do not have any questions, it could be either of the extremes. We've understood it 100% or we've not understood it at all. So the idea of this particular session is to go ahead and clarify any questions that you would have based on the session or general mentoring questions that you've thought about so far. I welcome all the members to post their questions in the chat box. In the meantime, I already have a few questions that have been collected, and let me go ahead and address those questions to the panelists. So let me start with Nina Janma. Now, we've had a particular question about how mentoring was before last year, or rather before this particular year, I'm sorry. They wanted to know what the process was. So if you could talk about it, for example, who was assigning mentors at the club level, whether it was the VPE or the member himself who went and looked out for the mentors. So that was a question that was asked. If you can throw some light, it would be great.
Well, I think it was a pretty much a casual process, much more casual. It was very much a case of somebody saying, oh, can you be my mentor? And somebody saying, you're good. Let me mention. So sometimes you do have, a newcomer coming in, icebreaker, they do on their own, and they've given an excellent speech, and suddenly someone says, okay, you're good, I will mentor you from now on. So it's been a two-way process, but we didn't really have this formal thing of meeting regularly or whatever. People would just say, okay, you're my mentor. And as I said, half the time, CKM, we meet on Sundays. So I have had speeches sent to me Saturday evening, Sunday afternoon, and we tried all these processes, name of the mentor will come with the speaker. And the mentor has to go through the speeches before they let you speak. Mentor's name will come on the agenda. So these are all things we've tried for recognition for mentors. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And when I have someone who does not follow, who regularly goes through this Saturday night fever as far as the speeches are concerned, once is okay. Second time I say, I'm sorry, I will not entertain you anymore. So I say bye pretty fast in such circumstances.
Wonderful, wonderful, ma'am. Thank you so much. I think that's very important for a mentor, right? To be able to decide if the mentee is taking it seriously or not and take a call. One more question to you, ma'am. This is in particular about club level mentor pool coordinator. So this person wants to know how would they make a difference in that particular role, and whether this role is kind of limited to reporting data, or is there anything more that they need to do?
Well, basically, first thing is collecting data. I mean, how many members in your club have a mentor assigned already? This applies to the older, more mature clubs. For the newer clubs, especially, like new college clubs, new corporate clubs, sometimes even new community clubs, they may not have resources in terms of mentors. So the mentor pool coordinator actually writing that down and sending it to the higher thing gives us an idea of which are the clubs that need mentors. And then, when they write in and say the MPC, for example, will write in and say XYZ club has asked for mentors. So the next question I ask is, what is the kind of club? Is it a community club? Is it a corporate club? Even in corporate clubs, the brick and mortar clubs will have a totally different demographic profile in terms of senior managers or things like that, whereas the IT companies may have a more casual approach and would prefer a younger mentor. All of those things. If it's a community club which is new, it's not much of a problem. A mentor with experience can help, but it really depends on all these things together. So we have a pool of mentors, and we have a pool of mentors who have the bandwidth to do mentoring for clubs. So please send in your queries. We'll be happy to help.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for clarifying that particular, especially with regards to the role. This is a question that I'm going to direct to Sampath sir. So Sampath sir, that's a very interesting question. This person wants to know who is eligible to become a mentor.
Yeah, we all had different ideas, but roughly in the same direction all these years. But now we have sort of formalized it in our group. So we say 2 years of active Toastmastering and completion of 2 levels in a path. There is a minimum. If the person was also 6 months or 1 year SCOM member in the club, all the better. He had taken part in some event management or something, or contesting, all the better. But a very basic, we kept it like this. But in terms of contest speech mentoring, probably the person with this 2 years and 2 levels, the totally fresh person, may not be still good enough, because the CC manual is not here. Now they are going to introduce something slightly, but because of that, they lose that experience. So for contest, you can go for seniors who have been doing the advanced manuals, CC and advanced manuals earlier. They are probably better for contest speech mentoring. Of course, depending on the availability in the same club, they can choose. That probability is there. So this is what the basic qualification that we have come up with.
Thank you so much, sir. The next question I'm going to direct to Ashok, sir. Ashok, this is a very interesting question. the person asks who chooses whom, number one. And the second part of the question is, my mentor is not responding, what do I do? Especially from the framework that we've been talking about. So my mentor is not responding, what do I do is the second question. I would like you to answer both these questions.
Thank you, Aarti. That's an interesting question. Who chooses whom? It may vary from club to club. In our club, what we have is, we have a role called Master Mentor. The Master Mentor works closely with the VP Education. As and when a new member joins, the VPM will share the profile of the new member. In fact, the VPM or the VP or the Master Mentor will talk to the new member initially. And then based on the availability of the mentors and their load, like some people may have 2 or 3 proteges, some people may not have at this point in time, or they may have only 1 protege or something like that. Based on that, the VPE, Master Mentor, together they decide the mentor for the protege. In our club, at this point in time, we don't give the choice to the new member, but then we tell the new member saying that we have chosen this mentor for these reasons. That way we tell them beforehand. This is the first part. The second part is, what if the mentor does not respond? Okay, this may happen due to various reasons. Maybe the mentor is currently going through a tough time personally, professionally, things like that. And maybe the mentee or protege has sent the script in the last moment, or whatever it is. In that case, the option available for the protege is to reach out to the Vice President Education or the Master Mentor. It's kind of escalation, I would say. In case the mentor is not responding repeatedly, then this option can be used. If VP and Master Mentor also don't respond, then they have to go to the President. That is something like that. Okay. And of course, in the beginning of their relationship itself, they have to establish whether they will communicate through WhatsApp or email or something like that. They have to finalize between the mentor and me. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ashok, especially about the escalation process.
I have one question. Can you change the mentor in between? Is it possible to change the mentor?
I'm sorry, can you identify yourself? You're not too sure who's talking.
Yeah, I am Sundaram. Actually, I am from Mentee.
Yes.
Do we have a choice? Of course, I'm a senior member, but I went abroad and came back now. Joined once again the same early. I have done my tours and all in the TV communication, but now I have to start the party. But actually, being a senior member, I want actually a person who is of my age. So can I change the mentor of my own, or ask whom should I ask to change the mentor? Actually, of course, Mr. Sambat Saurirajan can answer that also, because actually my mentor, actually proactively we expect the mentors to do some communication. The moment the mentor is assigned to somebody, he should actually also communicate to the mentee. Actually, of course, we don't need mentors, but there are now actually the pathways require the mentor, and naturally we have to get a person. So how do we go about it? Can we ask actually a particular person to be assigned to us? That is my question.
Yeah, okay.
Do you follow my question?
Yeah, very clear, abundantly clear. See, for a new member, fresh Toastmaster, I would say he doesn't have a choice for the first 6 months at least, because his requirement from the mentor can be easily met with most mentors. So this is the first part. The second part is Dr. Sundaram was First, he was ACG and other things, but in between, because of his job, he has left and he has come back now on retirement. So, such senior Toastmasters who already had experience, they can ask for a particular mentor. There's nothing wrong in that. As I said, even after first.
Okay, I choose you as a mentor now. Can I?
No, okay, I've answered the question. The third point is about the age. I will not accept about the age, does not matter. Depending on capability and general experience or a specific experience for a senior person joining, we will have to consider it. Actually, age is not a consideration.
Okay, we will discuss.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Sundaram, for asking that question, and Sampath sir and Ashok for answering these questions. Thank you. With that, I'm going to move on to Gayatri. Gayatri, I have a very interesting question for you. The question is, my mentor's path and mine are totally different. So how can this person, guide me is the question that's been asked.
Many of the times I've seen that people who are not champions themselves are the best mentors for creating champions. So you don't expect the coach to be the star player. The coach should actually be able to understand the strength and weakness of the player and be able to guide them. So in this case, the mentor should probably spend a little more time to understand the path that the mentee is going to pursue so that they can guide them early. Like Neena ma'am was saying, they cannot all of a sudden discover that there is a 4-month project that they have to do to complete a level. This is something that they have to understand at the beginning to plan better. But beyond that, I don't think a mentor has to have gone through that path to guide them. The mentor is not going to work on the path. It's the mentor is going to work on the mentee. So that I think can work with any kind of knowledge. So it doesn't really matter that they should have already done that.
Thank you, Gayatri. We have a scenario rather from Mohini Ramalingan. Mohini says that, all the leadership qualities like mentoring, negotiation, everything comes in useful, even in a person's personal life or improving the quality of life in general or the home front. She wants one of you to share your experience. So let me kind of add a little more spice to this question. So Neena ma'am, if you could tell us how maybe me, a protege in Toastmaster or a mentor in Toastmaster, help you outside of Toastmasters.
So either being a protege or having a protege helped outside of Toastmasters? I would say it's more like with some proteges, you kind of build up a relationship and you're like, it's not like you're monitoring their projects or whatever, but you have a relationship and then you're like, they feel free to call you up after 3 years or 4 years or whatever. And you just pick up the phone and chat about wherever you left off last time. So some of the relationships are really enriching. You're very happy with them, and especially when they call up to tell you the progress they've made, and when they recommend you for a particular corporate assignment or something like that. That's yes, that worked. Thank you so much. Thank you for thinking of me. That kind of thing. So that's the way it's worked for me, and it's been nice.
Thank you so much, Neena ma'am. The next question I'm going to direct to Sampath sir. Sampath sir, probably you can throw a little more light about this question. I think a college student has asked this question. So she's like, I'm a part of a college club. Am I eligible to mentor outside of my club? And maybe you could talk a little more instead of just talking about eligibility. I'm sure the person feels being a college kid, can I mentor someone who's in a corporate maybe? If you could talk from that perspective, that would be great.
We have already talked about the minimum qualification we are expecting. A slight adjustment can be made, like instead of 2 years, somebody was only 1.5 years. That type of thing can be adjusted. But a person who wants to ask this question means that he got that mentoring interest, because mentoring is an interest. Some people like to share, some people like to simply leave it like that. In fact, in earlier times, number of mentors in any club used to be very few. Out of 25-member club, only 5-6 mentors used to be there. So if somebody is asking, that is the first qualification. the eligibility is okay, you can do it. Whether you are college or, as I already explained, age does not matter. See, one of the important points about mentor is not an expert who knows the answers for your questions beforehand. Certainly not. In the extreme case, if you have a mentor who is also having similar experience like you can say we are getting another second man's view. For example, sometimes recently I'm having, for a specific problem, I'm asking somebody to be a mentor because I know that person has worked in that area or he has got that background experience, not for any other project. And that person in general is like me. He's not very senior or anything like this, okay, but it doesn't matter because mentoring is also getting another person's viewpoint, a person who has got an interest, a person who has got some background in Toastmastering, giving that viewpoint. Considering all these points I told, the college students can certainly be a mentor. And in fact, if somebody is good enough, they can give the name to our mentor pool register, and probably he or she can get a mentee outside. Because a lot of our other clubs are institution clubs and corporate clubs where they can easily match even by age and that younger age group mindset and other things also they may be able to match.
Aarti, may I add over here a couple of things? Yeah, two examples I'd like to give. VIT has had youngsters who've done an amazing job of mentoring within the campus and even outside. And I still remember there was this, not in our district, but another district, there was this speechcraft coordinator who was all of 21 years old. And it was a corporate club where they were all 40s and 50s, and she walked in on the first day, they were like, oh my God, what is the shrimp going to do, kind of thing. And by the end of the thing, they were like, wow, I'm thoroughly impressed. So I think it's the capacity of the individual that makes a difference and how committed they are, because we've had, Shasta, Aditya, all of whom who are DTMs, and, they started Toastmasters when they were 18 and had far more in terms of experience and anything else than a lot of much older Toastmasters. So that individual ability does make a difference, and the kind of active roles they have played in the different clubs. So age, absolutely no bar. Thank you. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Nirmala. Ashok, so this is more my question rather than anyone else's question. When normally someone comes to any of us for speech mentoring, okay, we focus on their speeches and feedback. Early, because we had a CL manual, it was easy to talk about the additional roles. How do you right now in Pathways recommend mentors to focus on the additional roles?
By additional roles, what do you mean, Aarti? I'm not getting it.
I'm talking about being a TMOD or a TT master, evaluator, grammarian.
Oh, okay, got it. In fact, the mentors should actively watch or monitor when their new mentees perform these roles. Ideally, it is not possible to spoon feed the new member or the mentee. What I try to do is, if there is a YouTube video on how to perform timer role or counter role or grammarian role, I try to give such links to them so that they can watch it and then learn it. Also, when it comes to TMOD and other roles, we also have a script. We try to share the script with them. Also, if they play the role of TD master, we give them the guidelines saying that don't call the guest first. Ask some, initially invite some senior Toastmasters or Toastmasters and non-role players, especially in the club. And then after 2 or 3 people have spoken, then invite the guests. Like that, for each role specifically, we provide guidance. And then in case they make some mistakes, after that also we follow with them and then say that these are the things you could have improved, something like that. This is how we are mentoring our members for additional roles. And one more thing is, once in a while, we have educational session on educational capsules on these roles like accounter or timer. Yesterday we had an educational capsule by Toastmaster Rajrao in our club. He spoke for about 10 minutes about accounter role. Like that, we will be doing once in a while. Yeah. Thank you all.
Okay, thank you, Ashur. And Gayatri, the last question of this round to you. Maybe I'm completely wrong. This is one place where I would like to be wrong. But we are looking at a lot of senior members willing to take up mentoring. But if you look at it, I wouldn't call them new members, but maybe someone who's been in Toastmasters for 2 years. That crowd is not taking up mentoring actively. So we have a dearth of mentors. Can you motivate them to take up mentoring?
I think there is a myth that somebody with the experience can only mentor. So it is, I think from district, we are trying to motivate more people to take up mentoring through mentor pool committee. We have announced awards. So through that, probably we should start motivating and first of all, burst the myth that you don't have to be an expert to start mentoring. And mentoring is also a learning process. You don't become the best mentor on day one. And I think it is also the responsibility of the VPEs to ensure that everybody who has been in the system for a while, who has completed few speeches, are assigned to new mentees. Like whenever a new member comes, it is very natural for us to believe that somebody who is very senior will be the person who would be able to serve them the best. On the contrary, I've seen that when people who are new to mentoring, who are assigned a mentee, actually groom in a very different way. One of the members in my club, he wasn't very good with grammar. He wasn't really great. And he actually started mentoring few Cavaliers, not even Toastmasters. But I see a huge transformation in his personality after he has become he's got only 2 or 1 or 2 Cavaliers as his mentees. But then his sincerity has increased by large. There is a sense of responsibility that comes into the members by themselves when they become a mentor, because it is a responsible role for them. So I think we have to burst the myth. I think everybody wants to be a mentor. It's not something that they probably are hesitant to sign up. It's not something that they are refusing to commit. It is probably because they feel they are not ready yet, or because they are not probably given a little push to take up that opportunity. So I think, we are starting with these initiatives. Eventually, we should have more people in the mentor pool committee. Today, it is the other way around. Probably there more people are looking for mentors, but more we also have to help more people realize that they are also mentors for somebody else. Maybe they will need a mentor, but for someone who is new to the fraternity, they can be a very good mentor and also learn a lot in that process as well. I think we have to work on increasing the awareness and getting this myth busted. That's what I feel, Arti.
I would like to add something here, particularly about the motivational aspect. As I just now mentioned, earlier in a club of 20-25 people, only 4 or 5 mentors used to be there. There will be mentors for all the others, whoever wants. But the Toastmasters International, I think they have started considering mentoring as one of the important leadership, with the shifting in emphasis with pathways coming in on more on leadership contents also. They have introduced this level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5, these 4 projects comprising of a pathways mentorship program. Now a person who is doing level 2, he has hardly done 4 or 5 projects. He might have been there less than 1 year. He is already asked to talk about his mentoring experience or Protege experience. So they are initiating that. This is the idea of Toastmasters also, to bring in more and more of the people into the mentor group. So this is why we have also recently said 2 years and 2 levels and some minimum qualification. So you will find many people will come as the time goes on, more and more people will be coming into this net, and they will be given by the VPE new members as mentees. And as the mentee grows to 1 year or more, he will become a tougher mentee for the mentor, because he has started learning, his questions will be tougher. But the mentor is also getting experience through that time. And of course, seniors are always there to help both of them, both the mentors and mentees. So the motivation is indirectly provided by the pathways organizing this pathways mentor program and badge. And a lot of people are not still fully realizing Like if you go and say I am a DTM outside, people will say what is DTM? Then you have to say in Toastmasters we do that. But if you go out and say I am a designated mentor, even if they don't know what is Toastmaster, you say okay, you are a designated mentor from some institute. Even then that has got a real value, designated mentor means. So doing that and doing the mentoring, will slowly the culture will change. The shift will come and all the new members will start getting mentor role after they complete 2 years.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Sampath sir. Designated mentor, I think that's a very different view, which we've not thought about. Probably we'll start using that as the mantra and promote and get in more members.
After you get the badge, after you finish the 4 projects, you get the badge. And once you complete one full path and these 4 projects together, you are designated as a mentor by Toastmasters. So that is something special.
Definitely, sir. So thank you so much for that insight. And I take this opportunity to thank all the panelists for sharing your insights on the questions that we had. With that, I hand the control back to the MC of the day, Malini. Malini, over to you.
Thank you, DTM Aarti. It's time for us to get into our breakout rooms for more discussion.
Abhishek, Muthukumar, Vinod Kumar, please feel free to join the breakout rooms so that you can. Hello, Abhishek, Muthukumar, Vinod Kumar. Still there? Abhishek, Muthukumar, Vinod Kumar. Muthukumar and Vinod Kumar, you are still on the main room. Sorry, Muthu is.
There was no recording in the breakout room, but now in the main room there is recording. You are on mute, sir. You are on mute. Yes.
You are lucky.
Oh, okay.
Did you say something bad there? It just recorded.
The session was really good, sir. Actually, all leadership discussions. It's a live opener for us. Those who are first time mentorship, leadership programs, got a lot of inputs, insights. The session. Thank you, sir, for the goal setting exercise. What we have to do, how we have to do, when we have to do. Very nice explanation. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, CK. I have one last April or so. I mean, in April, I delivered on TLI session on goal setting. It is a 1 hour program.
Wow. We can ask you to come and deliver a speech in our club also, sir.
Oh, sure, definitely. Sure. We have delivered it in about 30 clubs so far as a team. So along with a few other people. Yeah. Both the role plays were great today. Enjoyed.
Thank you, sir. It was very interesting. We learned something, but the Sambat sir was a bit maybe taken back or something like that. I don't know. Sorry, Sambat sir, if at all anything happened.
What is that?
நீங்க கொஞ்சம் கவலையா இருந்தீங்க. You were actually a bit worried, like while talking.
No. I'm not worried because I was having some message. I'm trying to answer that.
Your face was looking a bit different. Whereas others were laughing. We want you to laugh.
I'm glad somebody is looking at the face. Even though it's an old man rather than a younger.
Okay, sir. All the best.
Okay. We'll talk about that individual problem.
Oh, sir, we can talk. No issue, sir. We are not in a hurry. Okay, we can do that. Just I wanted to know that person because in pathways it's new for me. That's why. I had been a mentor the law old system. Okay, sir. Thank you. Wish you all the best.
So it's time for us to wind up. Final words. Now, my dear Toastmasters, pearls of wisdom are strewn around, lying sparkling everywhere. I have collected as much as possible and secured them in my bag to use it in the future. And I hope all of you have collected enough. That was, in fact, a very nice way to spend our Sunday afternoon. With that note, I hand over the stage to DTM Neena John for her closing remarks.
Thank you so much, Malini, for a fantastic job as MC. And thank you to every one of the members of the Mentor Pool Committee for helping in the planning, organizing, execution of this program. I hope it was useful and I hope the recording is there so people can just take advantage of that. I just wanted to highlight the members of the club. So can I request Toastmaster Sri Krishnan to give me my last 2 slides, please. Yeah. Next. Yeah, so this is the division SPOC responsibilities and how what the SPOC should be doing. So the division SPOCs do the mentor protege lists, collaborate with the area directors, and conduct membership awareness. Next one, please. So this is the Pathways Mentor Badge. Level 2, Project 2, you have to be being a protege, that's speech. Be a mentor for 3 months, set goals for 6 months, and another one for 6 months. And so we're going to look at people who've mentored more than 5 proteges, and we're looking at targeting at least 100 Pathways mentors by May 2022. Next one, please. Okay, thank you. So we're looking at the fact that our Toastmasters have done a great job with today's event. We hope all of you have got some idea of what the mentor pool is doing and how we can help you get more mentors. Those individual clubs that need mentors, please get in touch with your individual club mentor coordinators as well as division club coordinators so that we can help you get the right kind of mentors. We hope those of you who want to be mentors have some idea of what you're supposed to be doing and how you qualify yourself. And we're looking forward to creating a much, much larger, wider database of mentors for District 120. With that, we come to the end of this program. A special thanks to Malini as MC, Sri Krishnan as host. Timer was, I know I've got his name. Nandakumar Timer, thank you so much. And every one of the role players, every one of the panelists, thank you. And with that, we end today's program. Any feedback? Is there a feedback form?
Yeah, I'll circulate.
And it's unmute and open house for anyone. Any kind of comments you all want to make, please feel free.
Thank you so much, everyone. It was a short time, and I think it did come out very well. And as you said, Nina, we have the recording for the future as well. In case someone missed it, they have the recording. Thank you so much, and have a great day.
Thanks all. Thanks, Nina, and the entire organizing committee. It was a well-enjoyed session, hopefully. Yeah.
Thank you all. It was a great session. Fantastic. Bye, everyone.
I have a suggestion to improve attendance in our mentor pool group.
I'm sorry?
In our mentor pool WhatsApp group, I have given a suggestion to improve attendance next time. All attendees will get samosa by Swiggy.
Virtual samosas everywhere.
Not virtual.
Real samosas.
By Swiggy. Then the attendance will improve.
Oh, correct.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Anyway, so are we sending the poll? I think.
Yeah, I just sent it in the chat box.
Yes, but do we have enough people to answer that? Except for
we ourselves.
Ourselves. So send it to the attendees. They can send it.
Sure.
All right. Yeah, there's no point in us answering it. Okay. So once again, thank you to everybody. Great job. And I'm really looking forward to, let's see how if we have more programs like this, club level, area level, division level. Thank you once again. Bye-bye.
Thank you all.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thanks for the weekend.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, madam. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, madam. You did very well.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
How did you enjoy the MPC session? Mentor pool?
It was indeed really great, ma'am. Actually, me being part of corporate club and also in a remote location that's in Hosur. So we really had a challenge in the initial years when it was all in person, having mentors for people and mentor for our own club. So we used to have one from Bangalore, from our own Caterpillar Bangalore club. So she used to come around and then help us, made us a groom as a club. But once the in-person meetings faded out and all these came in, so that's when we also had some great experience in getting mentors from outside and making sure that our people also get coordinate with people outside our clubs. So these are some of the places where we really had a great time with, even with this Corona coming in. So it's a blessing in disguise especially for our club.
Exactly. A lot of people said, Zoom, how do we manage and all of those things. But I think if you treat it as a learning opportunity, it's like got you in contact with the rest of the Toastmaster world. And I'm sure you would never have attended anything from over here if it was physical. So great opportunity for you, sir.
Yes. So indeed, for the first couple of years, when all these TLA sessions and conferences were in person, so I used to register for all the sessions, but unfortunately, because of either my work, traveling on weekends or returning back on weekends, and then many times I paid a fee and then ended up not attending because I had to travel to Chennai. But this year, I mean, the last 2 years, it was really helpful for us, and we are also getting to meet a lot of people. So that's one thing that, and especially this session was really great because unfortunately the turnaround was not so great. What we expected, but still the people who joined definitely would have went back with a lot of learnings, and especially the role plays and the panel discussions. Everything was in fact eye opener for many people who would have not experienced the real life mentoring. Probably those are two real great sessions. Let's see how we can make this reach to more people. Let's find out what's.
Absolutely. So we have a Toastmaster Naresh. Would you like to say hello?
Hi, madam. Thank you so much. And I learned a lot of things in this session.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm new to the mentorship, and I'm yet to act as a mentor. But anyhow, I learn a lot from this session. Hopefully, I will work out practically and to become a better mentor in upcoming days.
Which club
Thank
are you, sir? Which club do you belong to?
I am from CTC Chennai, Tambaram.
That is Coromandel.
Coromandel, yes.
How long have you been with Toastmasters?
1 year, almost 1 year.
Both Sri Krishnan and Naresh, feel free to join in. I'm from Chennai Toastmasters Club. We meet on Sundays from 4 to 6. So feel free to join in anytime you would like to.
Sure, ma'am.
Sure.
Okay,
yeah.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Have a good day. Stay safe.
And thank you. Thanks. Fabulous job, Sri Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Thanks a lot, man. Thanks a lot, Naresh. Have a good day.